But Ryan Day just got paid the big bucks at Ohio State. He was already making the big bucks at Ohio State. They're now bigger. And he hired an offensive coordinator to replace Chip Kelly. We'll have more on that whole story in just a minute. But first, Ohio State announced that head football coach Ryan Day has agreed to a 7-year contract that pays him $12.5 million a year through the year 2031. The deal makes him the second highest paid coach in football, and it comes 2 weeks after Day led the school to its first college football national championship since 2014 when they were coached by Urban Meyer. This 7-year deal actually just adds 3 years onto his current deal, redoes all that. It will need to be approved by the Board of Trustees. It will be, no problem there. Not bad for a guy who was on the hot seat after losing to Michigan a couple of months ago. I mean, this guy had to hire full-time security for him and his family around his house just a couple of months ago because people were so upset about the Michigan game. But athletic director Ross Bjork knew he had a good thing going at Ryan Day, and if there was any lingering Michigan talk, he put that to bed by putting the school's money where its mouth is. This guy won a national championship, period, end of story. Pay the man, and they did. They're gonna. So the fact is, in this day and age, you got to have stability at head coach, and you got a good thing going at Ohio State, so keep that good thing going. Let there be no doubt. Let there be no question about the future there. When a young athlete's checking out Ohio State, he has to have no doubt that that coach is going to be there when that player arrives. Otherwise, he's going to hit the portal or not agree to a commitment, and he's gone. So, and that applies to young kids, 17, 18-year-old kids out of high school or older kids in the transfer portal. All right? You got to have your coach in for the long haul. Now, Day and Bjork, they don't have to worry about answering any questions about Michigan anytime soon either. This puts some cushion on that, even if things don't go their way in 2025 in November. No problem right now. Frankly, I think Bjork was tired of answering questions about it. He said, let me just solve this problem right now. We got 7 years on this deal. So Day's $2.5 million a year raise puts him right behind Georgia's Kirby Smart, who makes $13 million a year. Of course, he's won 2 national championships at Georgia. In fact, Ryan Day, Kirby Smart, and Clemson's Dabo Swinney are the only active FBS college football coaches who have won national championships. That's it. I mean, when Nick Saban retired, had all those championships, that was an active coach gone that had logged a lot of championships over the last decade. So, since Ryan Day jumped into that head seat at Ohio State in 2019, the Buckeyes are 70-10. 70-10. I'm not great at math, but that's a .875 win percentage. That's the best in the country. Boom. And he's got a national championship now. So let's not forget, by the way, what a busy week it's been in Columbus, Ohio. While Day was busy signing his contract extension, he made a decision on who his offensive coordinator will be. And, of course, Chip Kelly's gone now with the Las Vegas Raiders, left for the same job with them. Wide receivers coach Brian Hartline gets the promotion. Now, earlier this week on Locked On Big Ten, we speculated that promoting Hartline would make for the easiest transition. It is what made sense. Well, we actually suggested that Ryan Day take back the reins of the offense and call plays again. But if not, Hartline should be the guy. That's what we said. You go back and check out our podcast this week on Locked On Big Ten when you're done with this today. It's also been reported that Hartline will be the one calling plays. It's not like he's going to be an offensive coordinator in name and in planning, but then Day comes in and calls the plays. That's not going to be the case. So Hartline's got the gig. That's it. He's calling the plays. You know, the only pause in this story was when Ryan Day said earlier in the week that he would take his time filling the gaps in his staff. He said, after all, we're Ohio State. We can get anybody we want. So let's take our time and get the right guy. But Hartline's going to be the right guy. Instead of taking a long approach and combing the country, and maybe he did, he looked down the hall, tabbed Hartline for the job. He's good to go. Now, theory here, he may have had no choice but to go ahead and make Hartline the offensive coordinator. But for the record, it's a good move. All right. But he may have had no choice to do anything different than this. I'm convinced after the Bill O'Brien situation last year, where he left his offensive coordinator after 3 weeks last year, had Chip Kelly not been available right at the right time, I think Hartline would have been the guy last year. I think that's who they would have given it to. To pass him up would have put Day at risk of losing Hartline. And that would have been bad for a lot of reasons. Because, first of all, he's the best receivers coach in the country. He's the best receivers recruiter in the country. If you need a refresher course on that, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jackson Smith and Jigba, they've all had great NFL careers. Marvin Harrison Jr. just finished his rookie year with the Cardinals. Emeka Egbuka, he's on his way to the 2025 draft. And, of course, there was freshman man-child Jeremiah Smith this year. You want to put that at risk. And schools are reportedly trying to steal Jeremiah Smith away every day. Recruiting, poaching, tampering, call it whatever you want. Other schools want that guy in their uniform. Ohio State wants to hang on to him. They're literally throwing millions of dollars at this kid, trying to get him to jump into the transfer portal. So if you lose Brian Hartline, you likely lose Jeremiah Smith. And he's still got 2 years of fantastic eligibility ahead of him before he can go to the NFL. How would that look for Buckeyes fans to watch Smith win a Heisman somewhere else and then go number one in the draft? I do think he'll win a Heisman this year or next. Ryan Day had no choice but to promote Hartline to offensive coordinator. What do you think about that? As for Hartline, he gets to keep working with like the best wide receiver in the game in Smith. He's got a incoming 5-star wide receiver commit, Chris Henry Jr., who, by the way, gave his approval to the promotion on X. He said that he loves the move, actually. He said that Hartline knows how to develop wide receivers better than anyone. And now with him at offensive coordinator, he's going to put us, the receivers, in the best positions to dominate. That was him. See, we're taking quotes now from like 18-year-olds and their opinions on these moves because they matter. Hartline also gets to work with some exciting young quarterbacks here, including redshirt freshman and last year's 5-star quarterback recruit, Julian Sayin, who transferred in. He's ready to go after being at the school for a year. And, of course, this year's 5-star recruit, class of 2025, Tavian St. Clair, he's arriving. It's a great time to be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. Bottom line, Hartline connects with these kids. He's an Ohio kid himself from Glen Oaks High School. He's a former Buckeyes player. He made it to the NFL as a 4th-round draft pick for the Miami Dolphins in 2009. He also played for the home state Cleveland Browns and got his start in coaching at Ohio State in 2017 as an offensive quality control guy. Now he's the offensive coordinator at the only school he's ever played for or coached at, Ohio State. Bottom line, this was the one move, the only move that Ryan Day could have and should have made, and he did. I'd love to hear your thoughts, Buckeyes fans. Let's dial it up. The comments on YouTube. Always love that. Hey, be sure to subscribe and follow Locked On Big Ten for free wherever you get your podcasts. That way you get the latest episode of this podcast as soon as it becomes available each and every day. And if you don't mind, share, like, and follow Locked On Big Ten as well. And don't forget our website, talkbig10.com, number 10, talkbig10.com. All of our podcasts go there. Plus, we have links for you if you want to buy some merchandise, some Ohio State shirts or pennants, right there on the website where you're checking that out. That's at talkbig10.com. All right. Ryan Day still has to find a defensive coordinator. And you know, he did once say his former defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles, was the best defensive coordinator in the country. But did he run him out of town? We're going to dial that up a little bit. And it looks like the end of the road for Mike Woodson and the Indiana Hoosiers. Will have all that next here on Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. PrizePicks. Big game is just about here. On Sunday, no better way to make it more exciting than with PrizePicks. It's the best place for daily fantasy sports. Over 10 million members, Billions in winnings awarded. PrizePicks makes it fun and simple to get in on the action. You pick some players, minimum of 2 players, handful of players. You group some projected stats with them. You say more than or less than these stats. For example, Patrick Mahomes, more than 1.5 touchdown on Sunday. Pair him with another player. Travis Kelce, more than 45 yards. Put it all together. Boom. You can win. You can cash out up to 1,000 times your cash on that deal. And you can check out the promo tab there that they have for the super sweet Millie winners for the big game, for the lineups there. And if you tail, they got a lineup you could tail with them there. If you tail the lineup, it goes 3 for 3. You can split $1 million in promo funds. So download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege and get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game.